Very much, Dave. As each of us probably knows, so that's Dave Kane, who will be doing our special music today, and we're always thrilled to have him back. And of course, what he started with was Norwegian Wood. You probably recognized that. So good morning, welcome to everybody. It is so good to see you all on this beautiful fall day. Not much sun yet, but that's okay. And welcome back to Rev Sherri Quander. We're always delighted, and I mean that sincerely, delighted to have her with us. And today her talk is entitled Clearing the Conduit of My Good. And now we'll have a centering prayer. I choose to inhabit my days to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which came to me as seed goes to the next as blossom. And that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit.
Dave, that was just sensational. Sensational. Thank you so much for sharing your talent with us this morning. Well, good morning, everybody. It is always a pleasure to be with you. I was just sitting here in just this peaceful moment as Dave was playing, and I was just feeling how safe and how warm and how the oneness energy that is created in this group, how much I appreciate that. Because, you know, we always have to get to the point where we have to open our front door and we have to step out. We turn on the TV set or we turn on the radio and the world comes in. And right now it appears that we are dealing with almost an insurmountable amount of stress that comes from what seems like all corners of the world. We're dealing with political issues, a war in Ukraine, climate change, the appearance of an unstable political systems in the United Kingdom, in Iran, and here in the United States. So the entire world is dealing with the appearance of chaos on a global level. Our first knee-jerk response is to find somebody to blame. We want to make it the fault of one person or one group, when in reality, it's the responsibility of all of us to deal with the unexpected events that befall us. We all live on this planet together, and it is a responsibility of each of us to know what is ours to do to help keep balance, harmony, and freedom in our world. The title of my talk today is Clearing the Conduit of My Good. I always like to take a moment and use Webster's dictionary to help me here and there. And so I looked up conduit. And what I found is a conduit, a natural or artificial channel through which something, such as fluid, is conveyed. A pipe, tube, or tile for protecting electrical wires or cables. A means of transmitting or distributing. A cause to flow like a fountain. What is the conduit of our good? The author Napoleon Hill wrote, "Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought." As metaphysicians, we know that it is done unto us as we believe. The conduit of our good is our mind and our consciousness. When we turn on the TV or the radio and we're hearing how the economy is taking us for a roller coaster ride. 1 minute the Dow is up, the next minute the NASDAQ is down. One day the media is saying that we're on the verge of a recession. The next day the Federal Reserve is raising the interest rates to prevent a recession. All this uncertainty creates opportunities for us to allow fear to creep into the conduit of our good and participate in some of the old myths that we were brought up with around money and prosperity. For those of us who were brought up under certain religious practices, we were taught that the greatest spiritual teachers were poor. We were raised with the belief that being poor was holy, or that one was somehow closer, the poor person was somehow closer to God. Jesus was an example in our culture. If we widen our metaphysical scope of perception just a bit, was Jesus poor? The story of Jesus's birth in the book of Luke has Jesus born in humble circumstances, The story also stated that Jesus was born in a manger because there was no room in the inn, not because his parents were poor. One doesn't set an intention to check into an inn unless we can afford it. In the book of Matthew, the story of Jesus' birth tells that the baby Jesus was with Mary in Bethlehem, and when the Magi brought gifts, the first gift they brought was gold. So we must let go of any thought that poverty brings us closer to God. This is some myth that we have created going on here. This is something that's clogging our conduit. We must focus on the truth that God is the source and substance of all of our supply, just as it's stated in the daily word today. Wherever he went, Jesus was cared for by God, as we all are. Jesus was cared for by means of the people who followed his teaching. He was fed, he was clothed, he had a roof over his head. Our consciousness is clear that God is the source and substance of all of our supply. All we need do is ask, and it shall be given. So we must continue while we appear to be on this roller coaster ride, to keep that conduit clear with that understanding that Spirit is always providing. We have had within our consciousness myths about debt and loss. Within the infinite consciousness, there can be no debt or loss. In God, there is no debt or loss. Debt occurs when we either agree to pay for something over time, and in our consciousness, we have a trust in the flow of money, or in a consciousness of fear and believe that the universe won't supply our needs. Fortunately, God can't owe itself something. Therefore, it is only infinite abundance that surrounds us. There is only infinite abundance available to us. God is ever at the ready to guide, direct, inspire, prosper, and bless us in every moment with every requirement. The kind of debt that creates challenges for us comes from an overall consciousness about fear, about lack, and distrust in ourselves and in the universal process that our lives are good and very good, no matter the appearance of anything. I know when I was a child, I grew up with confusing information about celebrating prosperity. I know I grew up with parents who had gone through the Depression, and it was about holding on to everything because you never knew if you would ever have it again. You never knew if you were going to need it again and not be able to get it. So there was that underlying consciousness of fear. There was also that underlying consciousness of we better not celebrate our prosperity too big and too loud, or it just might up and disappear. So as I was growing up as a child, my consciousness was that of abundance, just as each of us is born into that consciousness of abundance. And I was always the kid that would go into a room, and when asked to pick out the most expensive thing, I did it. It was guaranteed. I always found it. There was that consciousness of good, that consciousness of abundance, that consciousness of wealth, that consciousness of all is well that floated around in me. And when I came in contact with those times where it was presented to me, well, I don't know, you better not get too happy about what you got, or when someone questioned my sanity about how confident I was in prosperity. It created a conflict for me. I never knew when it was okay to celebrate who I was, what I've accomplished. I didn't know when it was okay. I didn't know if I should be quiet and not celebrate and not say anything. So within me, developed conflict about loss and about prosperity. Loss comes when we believe that money is ours and there's only a limited supply coming in from certain channels. When we limit our consciousness, when our conduit is clogged with the idea that our good can only come from certain sources, we limit our good. When we clear out that conduit and understand that money is a form of wealth which is to be used, it comes in, some of it stays, some of it goes out, and we can't operate fully with our money when we have a death grip on it. Money is God in action. And when we need action, we get to allow it to flow. We get to trust that as it flows in, it flows out, it flows to good. It is constantly in motion. And when we feel that we need to develop fear around the fact that, well, maybe I'll never have any, or maybe it won't come in, or maybe I'll lose my job, or maybe this is the only way I'm going to be able to survive, we begin to clog up the conduit. We begin to slow down the opportunities for good. There are times when we may experience what we might call loss. When we keep our conduit clear, we remember that nothing is ever lost in the universe. I've gotten to the place now that when I can't find something, I now say out loud, okay, I misplaced something. Whatever the keys, show me where you are. I put down this note that I wrote to myself. Okay, note, show me where you are. I don't declare that it's lost. I don't declare that it's missing. I don't declare that it's gone. I just know it's here and it just needs to show itself. If we trust and stay open to the infinite flow, we'll experience the ever-present opulence in the entire universe. Everything in the universe is available to us. Then we have some myths about shame and about acceptance, or the concept of fitting in. If we were raised in a shame-based household or attended a shame-based school or church or culture, we can sometimes carry around this shame and this guilt with regard to highly charged issues like money and like sex or relationships. Both forms of money, sex, relationships, all these are high energy, divine energy concepts when understood rightly. But when we are in some conduit, when we have in our conduit some consciousness that I'm not good enough, that I'm not acceptable amongst the people in which I work or those in which my neighborhood, when I find some reason to be separated from the whole, I am clogging up my conduit to my good. Sometimes some of us grew up in situations where our parents found themselves not knowing how to deal with the concepts of shame and guilt. And they did things like argue and fight amongst one another, or they hid from life, or they didn't talk about issues. They didn't overspend, they didn't underspend. They experienced a myriad of other types of behaviors that were the best for them. All of this turmoil that gets created by these concepts of shame and not being good enough and not fitting in. These all create a constant state of feeling like we're wrong, no matter which way we look at ourselves. Keeping the conduit to our good clear. It's a moment-to-moment process. It's a step-by-step process. It is vital in keeping ourselves flexible to deal with the roller coaster of life. We all know no one person is responsible for life's volatility. We each have an opportunity to help create balance by remaining clear on what's ours to do. What did we come here to contribute to this world? And we get to love ourselves as we discover more about that good that we're here to contribute. We cannot fix everything. However, we can know the truth about our world. We can know that no matter what anything looks like, we can stay in that consciousness of faith. We can stay in that consciousness of truth. We can stay in that awareness that the universe abhors a vacuum. When something is empty, it will fill it up with the highest and best for all of those involved. This is a time in our lives, as things are in this appearance of chaos, that we hold fast and stay in that place of observation about what is my conduit delivering? What is flowing through my conduit that is demonstrating in my life? Keeping our conduit clean means reaffirming every day that we are that we are receiving our good right now. We can take the opportunity in our daily time of spiritual practice to reaffirm this, that no matter what it looks like, I am now receiving my good. God is the one power. My life is prosperous, and I release worry and know that the universe is open and my good flows in from all directions. Anything you pray for and ask for, believe that you have received it and it will be done for you. So today is just that time of awareness, because I know for me, when I get up each morning and take in a breath, I'm grateful, because I look out and see the appearance of the chaos, the appearance of not knowing what's coming next, the appearance of how the media creates drama around those things that appear to be out of our control. And as I said, when I first started here, I feel that safe, that consciousness, that love, that oneness when I am with all of you. So we get to create that atmosphere by keeping our conduit of good clear. Myrtle Fillmore wrote, "The first thing you do is to discard the words that have in them the idea of poverty, and then select carefully the words that hold the idea of plenty. Never make an assertion, no matter how true it may look on the surface, that you do not want or to reproduce in your life. Never declare anything that you do not want to reproduce in your life. Do not say money is scarce. The very statement of such thought will send money fleeing from our fingers." Myrtle went on to say, never say times are hard for you. Instead, begin right now to talk plenty, think plenty, and give thanks for plenty. Keep the cobwebs out of your conduit, your consciousness, your belief system. If we begin to feel stress or fearful about the roller coaster ride that appears to be going on in the world, do as Myrtle suggested, move into prayer. If we feel we need help, call a friend, call a chaplain, call Silent Unity, and ask them to help you declare the affirmations of your truth. God is the source and substance of all of my supply. I am whole, perfect, and complete. Our economy is balanced. Money flows into my life from all directions with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. And for this, I'm truly grateful. With God, all things are possible. And so it is. Join me now as I take a breath. And as I exhale, I allow my body to relax into the chair. I allow myself to breathe. For I recognize right here and right now that God is all there is. I know that each and every thought that moves through my consciousness, that moves through that conduit into my mind, is generating my good. I know right here and now that I am one with all that is. I feel right here and now a warmth within my solar plexus, a light burning within me that I know to be the life of God. For God expresses itself by means of me. And as I relax into this moment, I allow that warmth to move up my torso, out into my arms and my shoulders, into my neck and my head, and out the crown of my head. I allow that warmth to move from my solar plexus down into my hips, into my legs and my knees, into my ankles and my feet and my toes. And I feel that warmth and connection to the earth. For I am safe. God is the source and substance of my supply. I am fed. I am sheltered. I live in harmonious relationships with my family, my friends, my coworkers, my neighbors. I generate that light of God wherever I go, helping those around me to see their own light. I continue to feel that warmth within me. And I allow it to bring me new ideas. I allow it to support me as I find other ways to be in service. I allow that warmth to protect me, to show me the next step my foot is to take. I accept my blessings. For I know that I am blessed in each and every moment. And in these next couple of moments of silence, I allow myself to feel at one with all that is. I feel my toes tingling, my fingertips tingling, as I slowly return my focus of attention to this room. I allow myself to slowly breathe in and know that it is the life of God that is revitalizing, healing every single cell, providing me with new inspiration, and allowing me to live in complete gratitude for all that I am and for all that I have. I bless my fellow church members here, knowing that they bring life to my life. And I am grateful for each and every gift of joy that they share with me. So I open my eyes, I breathe in, and I recognize I am whole, perfect, and complete, and safe in each and every moment. And for this, dear Spirit, I am truly grateful. And so it is.
Reverend Sherri, thank you so much. Very helpful. I needed it. I loved it. Thank you. And Dave, yeah, each piece and the order in which you played them, used them was just perfect. Thank you. Especially the waking up at the end. I mean, that was just, I love it. Thank you. So a closing prayer. What I have is a little poem from William Stafford. You may be familiar with him. Sorry, I just lost my Zoom. And this one is called The Way It Is. There is a thread you follow. It goes among things that change, but it doesn't change. People wonder about what you are pursuing. You have to explain about the thread, but it is hard for others to see. While you hold it, you can't get lost. Tragedies happen, people get hurt or die, and you suffer and get old. Nothing you do can stop time's unfolding. You don't ever let go of the thread. And so it is.
We are so blessed here at Unity Center DC for extraordinary speakers, talented musicians who share with us each week their God gift, their message, their inspiration. And for us as recipients, I'd like you to take this moment and be grateful. If you want to express your gratitude by giving a gift to Unity Center DC, it's possible. We'll put up on the screen the options, but you can give online, you can mail a cash or a check to the address you'll see on the screen, so that we can continue this ministry, which has blessed us all. Thank you.